Hi, fellow traders, and welcome back to another segment in how to really grow a small trading account. You guys know me, should be familiar with my story. If not, I'll be glad to share it with you. Just hit me up and we can talk about it. But I have really grown fond of trading in a small account. I like the challenge. I like the security. Yeah, I have a speed trader account. Yeah, I have a account in USAA brokerage account that I have another retirement account that I trade out of. But those are all swing trades. The only day trading I do is in my small account. And the reason why I do that is because when I started day trading in Sure Trader, Speed Trader, I lost about $1,800 in 2 months when I had made almost 100 grand day trading. And I had to go back to where I started from. I had to go right back to that, and I came back home, put money back in my Sure Trader account, and things took off. So I like doing it. It's really something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people learn how to use Sure Trader, learn how to stay out of trouble with them, and how to make money. All right, so today we're going to talk about using a simulator to help you develop your skill. So, and this is something that I used to help me be a better trader. It helped me bridge that gap, and it helped me become more consistently profitable sooner, because it's not a shortcut by no means, because you have to work hard, you have to put the time in. But the more screen time you get, the more experience you get, the more muscle memory you develop, the better you're going to be trading. And coming home at night, because I work full time. I had to go to work full time. I got to work at 7:30 every morning, and I left at 3:30 every day. And that's when the market was open. So I had to do a lot of my practicing and a lot of my spending a lot of screen time at night. And, I would do some trades at the specific times I had allotted during the day, that I had breaks in my schedule that I could spend in the market. And it's vital to somebody that's learning how to trade. So day trading, it's become incredibly competitive in the last several years. I've noticed a change in the short time that I've been actually day trading. I've noticed a big change in how the market moves, and it's a little bit more difficult to nail winning trades now, than it was when I first started. The market is just not what it used to be. But we've got high speed, high frequency trading. We got more algorithmic trading out there. We have more independent day traders using automated trading systems, and that number is just going to continue to grow. So we as day traders, we independent day traders that actually do it manually, we face high levels of stress, because we have to try to find the trading opportunities and execute. And there's that word again, execution. That's the key. if you can't execute, you're not going to make money. So it's easy for us to find the stocks that are moving. You have a good scanner, or you get in a good chat room, you're going to be able to find the stocks that are moving that day. But whether you can execute or not, that's where that stress level is going to come in. So, some of these online brokers, they've got simulated accounts that's going to help you develop your skills before you go out there and you start putting your money out on the line. And you want to take advantage of those. Now, some you have to pay for. Some you do have to pay to use a simulator. But I'd rather pay the $100 to $150 a month for 3 months to learn how to trade, to get that screen time, to get a good idea about what I'm doing. Because that $450 to $500 that you invest in a simulator, you could lose that in an hour in the market, not knowing what you're doing. So it's well worth it, if you have to get if you have to buy the simulator. Okay, but like I said before, it closes that learning curve. And it helps you to, build your confidence, build your skill. And most of them, you want to have a market replay simulator because you want to be able to do it at night if you work full time. And even if you trade the markets during the day, it also helps me at night because let's say something happened in the market and I want to see what happened. I want to see how this reacted or how that reacted to this catalyst or to this news that came out. Well, I can go back and replay it, and I can look at different stocks, look at different sectors, look at, how different things reacted, to the news. So having that market replay, helps in so many ways. It also gives you the opportunity to practice in an environment that's as close to reality as possible. That's what we want to do. We want to practice in a market that's going to be as close to what we feel and what we experience every day. So why not use a simulator that is an actual recording of the market that will allow you to go back in and actually trade? And this is what I use. I use Thinkorswim, the on-demand by Thinkorswim. That's the first thing that I used. And I use it in conjunction with Trade Ideas. And I'll show you exactly what I do here in a minute. Trade Ideas has a historical feature, so I could go back and look up a stock that, or run a scan for a day in history, set it up on Thinkorswim, and I could sit there at night and trade the open again. So every night I can go back and retrade the open if that's what I needed to do. And as I was growing and developing as a trader, that's exactly what I did. Every night, after everybody went to bed, I had time I spent with my family. I didn't take any time away from them. Unless I was watching a webinar or something, that happened. But other than that, I was with my family, enjoying time with them. When everybody went to bed, that's where I was. I think I posted a picture one time of me sleeping at my computer. There's several of them my wife took. She came in at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm not in the bed. I'm knocked out on my, sitting in front of the computer. I put that time in and I was dedicated to it, and that's what you have to be. You got to have that work ethic. You got to have that dedication. Another thing I can use is FinViz, and I'll show you, exactly how you can use this. If you don't have a scanner, if you're not paying for a scanner subscription, you can you probably want to use FinViz every day and just kind of write down the stocks that you may want to check. But what I'll do for FinViz, I'll show you exactly what I like to do, because I was practicing trading at open, and most of the stocks that move at open are the ones that are on earnings. So I wanted to focus on earnings, and I'll show you exactly how I do that. Trading Sim is something that I talked to the guy here a couple weeks ago, and we're trying to get everything that I use. Before Trading Sim didn't have level 2. It didn't have pre-market trading. All of these things are critical and key to my strategies and what I do. So it didn't really do me any good, because I couldn't really learn how to read the level 2 and time and sales together. And you need to learn that. Even though a lot of times there's a lot of fake outs on level 2, you need to be able to identify when the fake outs are probably occurring. And you can see it. It just takes time and experience. But that's coming. I think he told me by the end of September. And we're going to kind of tailor it to everything that I do. And for those of you who can't get Thinkorswim, that's going to be a viable option. And the good thing about Trading Sim is you don't have to wait 2 days to go back and trade the market. Trading Sim, you can do it that day. You can go back that day and trade the morning. That's the good thing about Trading Sim. Thinkorswim, there's like a 2-day delay. So, or a 3-day delay or something. I know if I want to trade Monday, I probably have to wait till Wednesday. Something like that. But these are the key tools I use in my practicing and my simulation. And even though I was making the money I was making, or that I'm making the money that I'm making now, I still practice. I still use the simulator. And I will tell you why. Keep in mind, there's some differences between the simulated and live trading. Technically, the simulators are not going to account for slippage or spread so much, or commissions. And that's going to have a significant impact. A lot of people are used to taking 20 trades a day on the simulator. You take 20 trades a day in the market on a live account, commissions will eat you up if you're not making money. If you're losing or just chipping away small gains on every trade, the commissions is going to eat you up. If you're not careful with the spread, you could get in a trade with 300 shares and the spread's 40 cents. As soon as you get in, you're going to be $120 down. And that can, somebody who's not used to that, it can really mess them up. And on a psychological level, you have an easier time sticking to your rules because you don't have money on the line. What if, and think about this, this is one of the issues, and this is why I have traders turn their P&L off. Because you could be up $100. The trade is, let's say the trade moved like 25 cents. Your first target is 50 cents. You're up $100. And then next thing you know, you're down to only being up $30 or $40. How many of you would just take the trade off and say, I just need to lock in profit? And you don't let the trade work. But in a simulator, you're not worried about it because you're not losing anything. you're going to let it go to see if it comes back. And then the stock doesn't go back and stop you out. It continues to work. And you make good money on the simulator. But in reality, if you saw that, if you're watching your P&L and you get those swings, you dump the trade without thinking twice about it. And then you end up missing a big move. So when using the simulator, you also want to keep accurate records of your trading performance. Now, you can't download the simulator into... well, I don't think you can do it in... You can't do it in Profitly. I don't know if you can do it in TraderView or not. But you can't really download... I don't think you can download the simulator to one of these platforms. So you have to manually keep records of your accuracy. And, that's what you want to do. Because that's going to tell you whether you're ready or not. And you have to do it on enough. You have to do enough tickers and do it over enough time through different market conditions. So you know that your strategy works. And then you learn how to adapt it. If your strategy is strong in a bullish market and weak in a bearish market, then you're going to need to make some adjustments in the bear market so that you can make money. And you want to know how to do that. You don't want to be out there trading live and then all of a sudden something happens and you don't know how to deal with it. It's going to cause you to lose some money. And here's a big thing. You want to trade with the same position size. The same position size that you will be trading when you go live. I mean, that's going to be key. You can't skip that. There's no way around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a live example here. I'm going to show you exactly how I use these tools that I have in order to help improve my trading and to help develop my skill and increase my screen time outside of the market. All right. So this is my Thinkorswim platform. And what I do, there are two different ways you can find your stocks to practice with, or a couple different ways. You could keep a record every day, keep a notebook, write down all the stocks that were moving that day, and then you can go back and trade it. Or what I like to do is, because I have a Trade Ideas subscription, I'm able to go back and use the historical feature. This is the scan that I have every morning that I build my watch list off of. So I can open it up, go to use historical data, and let's say I want to find out what happened on, let's say I want to go back to Monday. And at 9 o'clock is when I have all of my, everything that's on my scan by 9 o'clock, that's all I'm trading. That's it. Nothing else. So we've got Q and, we've got Juno. So let's just do, let's do Juno for the sake of argument here. Or Q, let's try. Is that one on earnings? None of those are on earnings. I want to find one that's on earnings, so we can do it both ways. Well, I'll just go through and do it this way. Since we started with Juno, we'll do that. Okay, and we're looking at what What day is this? 8/29. What day are we looking at? $8/28, which is this day right here. So I actually gapped up 2 days in a row. Okay, here's 8/28, and what I like to do is I go back and I can look up, okay, well, what was the catalyst on 8/28? I just go to FinViz, and scroll through the news. What happened on 8/28? Okay, Genotherapeutics earned relative strength rating upgrade. Okay, there was this is that morning where there was a rumor, or not a rumor, but a report that Gilead's deal to buy Kite Pharma is a game changer. That's kind of the news that came out. And so, all the biotechs were surging. So that was, I don't know if it spiked off of this the night before, or whether it was, this deal. But whatever the case was, it was on our scanner. So what I do is, let's say I want to practice. Let's say this is a stock that I want to try to trade. Okay, I want to practice this. So what I'll do is I'll go into on demand, and I'll go to, let's see, it's August 28th. All right. At, let's say, 9:30. We're going to look at the open here. All right, so now what we're seeing is a price action for JUNO right at the open on August 28th at 9:30.40. So now it's pre-buffering. Once it buffers and it gets set up, this is what we're going to be looking at. All right, now we're working. All right, so this is at the open. And what I like to do, if I'm trading the 5-minute opening range, then I'm going to sit back and I'm going to wait for the 5-minute candle to open. Now, it's critical when you're in the simulator that you just take your time and watch this. Don't speed it up. Take your time and watch the price action. You can watch level 2, watch the volume, watch the candles. And what you'll start seeing is a pattern of stocks and how they trade, and whether you want to get in that trade or not. And one thing that I've learned by doing this is that when these deviation bands from the VWAP are closing in, I'm not touching that stock. I'm not going to touch it until it opens up. So for me, right now I'm watching this. This is hands off. But the only way that I knew this, and the only way that I came up with this, is by doing this every night. Going through and trading the open of every stock that was on my watch list, or every stock that hit my scanner. Even if it didn't get on my watch list, I did it. The ones that didn't make my watch list, I watched. And for each stock, I spent at least the first 30 to 45 minutes coming out of pre-market into the open, and I watched the price action. And I did this for weeks before I even started taking the trade. Because what I found out is, if I'm looking to take this long, which of course you have a long bias on this because we've been trading above VWAP the whole pre-market, you would be inclined to get in this early. You know, we're at 933 and this thing is looking strong and it's trying to push up. But these deviation bands from the VWAP are closing in. So for me, there's a no trade right now. And again, you don't want to fast forward this. You want to sit here and you want to wait. You got a 5-minute opening range. When I get into the last minute, I'll kind of cheat a little bit. I will start drawing my levels. Okay, let's see the low here, 36.10. Alright, and so the high up here is 37.29. It's good when it's making a new high because you've got that level right there. So this is, I'll make this red. And you see I got plenty of time to do this. And I've got, this is going to stay green. Red is short. Anything under this line is going to be short. Anything above it is going to be green. And as long as it trades in this window, you don't touch it. There are no trades on this. There's no strategy. There's no opening range strategy just yet. And so the ideal thing when you're practicing this is you wait for a candle to close outside of this to the upside or outside to the downside. Just because it dips doesn't mean you get in. You wait for the close. And right now we're looking long. I got a bias to the long side. But guess what? This candle has made a lower low, a lower high. We're trading inside of it, of the range. And so, yeah, I could take this risking on the VWAP, but that's not my strategy. My strategy is a 5-minute open range breakout. So I have to wait until it breaks out of that 5-minute opening range. And if you guys in chat, you'll see every time I lose on this, it's when I anticipate it and take it before we actually get a break. I just try to anticipate it based on the price action. And like this price action was strong, I could have easily anticipated it, got in here, and this thing fails and it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm still sitting here holding the position, hoping that we push up and push through this level. And this is where, approaching this just like you would the open. I was doing this at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes midnight, after everybody had gone to sleep. And I do my practice where I could focus, where I could give 100% focus to what I'm doing. And see, I'm still, this kept me from taking this trade and anticipating. I mean, anybody would sit here is like, yeah, look, the 9 is coming up. This is coming off the, it's holding the VWAP. We're starting to push up. There's no trade until we get a candle to hold over this 37.29. There's no trade unless we get a candle to hold below this 36.10. As long as it's in this window, we don't trade it. So I'm going to do, this is something that we don't want to do, but I don't want to sit here through the whole video. So we'll bump the time up a little bit. All right, see, now we're still waiting. We're still in this 5-minute opening range. And I could have easily anticipated this and lost my money. Now, the way I practice in this, I use Active Trader. And, I don't know whether I'm going to go long or short right now. You just don't know. All I know is we're still holding the 5-minute opening range. Even though this is starting to look weak, we've lost the VWAP, we've lost the 9. We're sitting on a 20 here. If we lose the 20 and the opening range low, this is definitely a short. So right now, I don't see this as a long trade. I wouldn't take it long. The only way I would take this is short because of what I'm seeing here. And based on, hours and hours and hours of watching charts, I would not want this to the long side. So let me bump it up a little bit more. We'll fast forward 9:55 again. Nah, it didn't bump up. Hold on. There we go. So right now, as long as we're in here, you don't touch it. And you can give it till, let's say, 10 o'clock. And if it never sets up, then you go to the next stop on your, we'll start this back over at 9 o'clock. We'll go to Q. And then we'll see what this does. The first, 30 minutes or the first hour. However long you want to watch this. For me, I will watch it the first hour. I will look at the price action from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I will look at it for an hour. And if this thing didn't set up within that hour, I just let it go. I let it go. Now, How do I use FinViz? Okay, most of my opening range trades are gonna be stocks that have earnings. So really, I really focused the last year on really watching and really practice trading all of the earnings winners. So, FinViz is a free tool. You don't have to buy a subscription to it. All I do is go earnings date, the previous 5 days or the previous week, and I filter some out. Volume over 1 million, price over $10, average volume over 500K, and I just go through and work this out. And look at the ones that interest me. Okay, I don't trade oil stocks or gold or financial. I don't trade those. So I just go through and look at these. Okay, AEO. I'll click on it. What day was earnings on it? August 23rd. So I'll go back to my on-demand. I will go to August 23rd. Let's look at 9 o'clock. And I'll look at AEO. Alright, so I would watch, kind of look at what happened, form my bias. Let's write our trade plan out. Okay, just get your note card. We're looking for opening range breakout. We know the rules. We know automatically this is a $12 stock, so I'll probably trade 500 shares. 20 cents is going to be my max loss stop. So automatically when I get in this, I know as soon as I get in, my stop's going to be 20 cents lower. That's automatic. That's going to be automatic. So, let's wait. And I watch this into the open, starting at 9 o'clock all the way. I'll fast forward this now so we don't sit here, but you watch it. You sit there and you watch it. You don't fast forward it. You let it go. Okay, now look at what happened. We were holding the VWAP, and all of a sudden, bam. So let's just watch this for a couple of minutes. All right, you can see how big this thing is selling off. All right, so let's pause this. This is perfect, because what you need to know is, okay, what happens when a stock puts in an 80-cent candle at the open? All right, let's go back and look at what's the ATR. 51 cents. The ATR, average true range, on this stock is 51 cents. That means it moves an average of 51 cents every day. Okay, so earnings can make it move, twice that, sometimes maybe 3 times, but you can't bank on that. So we've got a candle and we've got a stock that's moved all of its ATR in the first candle. So having these, the only way you're going to know how to trade these is for you to see this many times. And the only way you see this many times is using the simulator. It's simulating, going through and watching every stock on watch that morning, or every stock that's got earnings that day. Watch it. Watch the trade patterns. Okay, so let's say we got in. Let's say we got in here because let's say we got in because we're breaking below the opening range low. All right, that's the 1191. So you got to be skeptical. You got to be careful with these because you got a candle that's opened up the whole thing. But let's just trade it. We're practicing our strategy. We're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So what happens when we have a candle, a stock that prints a candle that's larger than its average true range? What do? And see, we jumped in this. We just jumped in because we're going to trade everything. When you're first learning, you're pretty much trading everything. Okay, where's your stop? It's going to be 20 cents. So once you get in, you want to put your stop. It's going to be what? 12.05. So you got to edit it. 500 shares. Stop limit. You want it to, it's got to be 12.05. Got to put in your hard stop. So that if it hits it, it should take you out. I don't know if the stops usually work here. I usually use manual stops. But when you're first learning, you could just go ahead, get in, put your stops in. But you want to know where your profit targets are. That's why you want to plan your trade ahead of time. So you already know your stop. I'm in 500 shares. I got a max loss of $100. My stop's going to be at 12.05, 20 cents above what I got in. And then you want to, based on your technical levels, based on what you see on your chart, that's going to be your target. So you could, when you planned out your trade, you could say this green to red line here is going to be my ultimate target. So you could, when you got in this trade, you could say my ultimate target, if it went short, was here. And this is why you want to have two plans. You got to have one plan for if it goes long. You got to have one for if it goes short. Because this definitely killed any long plan we had. because right before the open, this stock ran up and then we sold off. Now we're having trouble. And this is why you really should wait for a candle to really establish itself below the 5-minute opening range low. This is why I preach this, and I don't always follow it. And every time you see me not follow it, that's usually when I lose. So this is how I practice every night. I don't do it as much anymore, but when I was working full time and I didn't have a whole lot of screen time during the day like I have now, I'm watching the market practically all day, so I don't have to worry about putting in 2 or 3 hours at night. But back when I was working full time, this is how I had to do it. I had to find the time. I had to dedicate X amount of time for me to study. And that was key. And this, by doing it the right way, by doing it and by trading it using the same rules that you would use when you trade live, you're going to develop what we call muscle memory. You're going to be able to, you're going to see these trades and you're going to recognize what's going on. You're going to recognize the price action, and you're going to know, okay, it's probably better not to trade this. Because when I was in the simulator, I traded this. We got a candle to close below this level. I got in and it just didn't work. Why? And once you see several stocks that put in big candles and you get in a trade and it doesn't work, you go back and look, hey, this thing traded over the average true range, so this is probably not going to work. Or if it does, it's going to pull back some and then, try to work. So I don't even know what this thing did. So I'm going to go to 1041 and we'll see if it broke down or what it did. Yeah, it did break down. Eventually it hung around, and then finally it broke down. Yeah, so you kind of would have gotten bailed out on this. But typically, when I see this candle, I'm not going to get in it. If this candle has engulfed the average true range of the stock. Even though we're on earnings, even though that's a strong catalyst, I'm still skeptical about this. So I tend to stay away. All right, so I hope this gives you, some idea of, what you need to do and how you need to practice. For any strategy you trade, you've got to practice it. You got to find the stocks that set up, whether, however you're going to use a scanner, or if you're going to write down stocks that day. Keep a notebook of stocks that are moving so that you can go back and, trade that day. You can use FinViz on any particular day. Every morning, if you have to work and you can't trade, just go to it. Go to the home screen. At the end of the day, get the top gainers. Get the ones that made the new highs. Get the ones that are overbought. The big losers. And then just scan for the ones that had earnings for the day. So when you get ready to go in the simulator, you can practice. All right, so that does it for me this week. I hope this helps out. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to email me, ed@averagejoetrader.com. But we'd love for you to come join the community. You know, we're in chat every day. Win, lose, or draw. Sometimes I have to take a walk. You know, the market beats me up, and I just have to take a walk for a while. But that's life. That's life of a day trader. And that's what you get every day. I'm in chat. All right, guys. Well, have a good one. And take some time. Get some rest. And let's be ready to tackle this on Tuesday.